Hello, possums. Dr. Lena, your Australian sociologist and commentator. Here we are. We've finally made it to spring where I live. I don't know if you can see with the glare, but the climbing rose has come out. It's just beautiful. Now, I have to start. Mea culpa, mea culpa. I was doing a rave in the last video about Eric Adams, New York mayor, and said Eric Holder. So I offer my sincere groveling apologies to the real Eric Holder. He's one of the nice guys. I couldn't have got it more wrong, but it was just a slip of the tongue. But I own it. I am so sorry for the real Eric Holder. Okay, Eric Adams doesn't deserve our sympathy. It would appear everything is alleged as we speak, right? However, talk about betraying your people, betraying your city, but just betraying, you know. Not looking good for Eric Adams. So what the FBI are investigating now is the connection with Turkish money, but there's also other foreign national money circling around him. And I think we're going to see some long overdue exposures of many people, lawmakers of all stripes and colours. They have to clean up their act. We know there's Russian money coming in various ways, including the mystery visit to Moscow by all those GOP Republicans who came back ardent fans. Remember the Moscow Mitch stuff and all of that. But in a way, for Putin, looking at it through his eyes, it's very cheap. Couple of mil here, couple of mil there. Paying trolls to spread misinformation, it's cheap. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. What's not cheap is running the Jared Kushner show. So what I want to have a look at here now, Kushner is also being investigated. Do you remember? It'd be 2 years ago now or something like that. Investigative journalists found out he'd received an astonishing sum of money. What was talked about was around the $2.5 billion mark. You could safely assume, entertainment purposes only here, YouTube, to have access to what they hope to be the future president, the Yeti, right? Anyway, it's funny how the small things bring them undone. No one seemed to act on that 2.5 bill, but he's given, how much is it? 150 million, which only seems small when you compare it with the 2.5. He's been receiving 150 million a year from the Saudi Arab Sovereignty Wealth Fund for administering that money. What is going on? So let's have a look at Kushner, the very strange Kushner. Oh, look, I'm going to stick my neck out. I bet they're IVF babies. Do you think that Ivanka and Jared actually ever did it? I have my doubts. Anyway, we're looking, will there be real repercussions for Jared Kushner? Okay, let's have a look. Jared. I noticed on Legal AF recently, they were referring to Ivanka Kushner, and it changes the conversation, doesn't it? Ivanka Trump's one person, Ivanka Kushner. Anyway, not called the Queen of Snark for nothing. Jared, legal repercussions, or is he going to escape? Oh, look, it's He's another trust fund baby. Can someone let me know, please, how many apartments in New Jersey and other places does Kushner Holdings have? And I think you'll find it's in the thousands. So he was given like truckloads of apartments. But just like his father-in-law, just like his brothers-in-law, doesn't know what to do with it. So as we speak, I don't know, these people run out of money. They run out of money. You can give them $1 million an hour, and at the end of the week, they'd be broke. It's a particular art form. King of Pentacles going for help here with the King of Pentacles. It could be, oh, this is interesting. It could be he's an equal opportunity treasonous person. I think he gets money, I saw somewhere from Saudi, Qatar, and probably United Arab Emirates or somewhere. Multiple Kings of Pentacles going on. He's having to account for it because this immense amount of money hasn't generated a return. So he's another one that's actually hopeless at business, but rules the world. You know how it is. Things are going to happen quickly. He's going to have to mount a defense and explain the fool's gold. I hope so. I certainly hope so. Okay, so Jared has had a glorious run in the sun, but not so marvelous. Now, I was astonished having a cup of coffee this morning. I tend to read the news where I can rather than the talking heads. I do access a bit of talking heads, but I prefer to read the news. Keeps the stress levels down. But what did I read? First thing, Michael Flynn, General Michael Flynn has said, we are in a war and Harris is the enemy. Now, this guy, he's just itching to betray the country that created him, isn't he? He has been so disgusting. He went to jail having admitted his treacherous dealings, then got pardoned by the evil Yeti. So Mike Flynn's at it. He must have issues too. I mean, if you, excuse me, if you throw away everything you took an oath to support, if you go further and you become an actual treasonous creature and you admit it and you go to jail, wouldn't you keep a low profile? No. He who led the locker up chance. It's happening. It's happening with Michael Flynn. And his brother's weird too. Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn. All right. Living the good life. Bit afraid. Oh, Justice. I'm very pleased to see you here. What? Okay, it's beginning. It's beginning, but I'm not seeing slam dunk. Sorry, I've got a scratchy throat. Now, here he is, apparently not worried by anything. He's got enough money to do what he wants. Okay. But justice and loss. So I think he's going to lose a legal case, but not straight away. Four of Swords isn't quick. Strength. And I think he's got strength on his side. That would be expensive lawyers or whatever. And the outcome, which is really an interim outcome, is doing this balancing act. But for those learning tarot, the Two of Pentacles is also about manipulation. So it's like he's manipulating his position. Now, I know I'm not alone in this. Many of you guys have said he should be called back to active service. Just a moment. Hi, Tess, come through. You're not on camera. So make tea or whatever you need to do. Many of you have said that he should be called back to active duty and court-martialed. And I couldn't agree more. Right. I don't know why it hasn't happened. Hopes someone's listening. People have talked about it. Arrgh, evil Michael Flynn. So what's next on the list here? I want to have a look at Project 25 because that sort of leads us into, I think we have to be really ready for anything going forward. Anything. What does that mean? It means, according to the astrologers, and they're much better at timing than we are in tarot, so October's going to be an epic month for everybody, but particularly for Trump. It's almost like, will he make it through October? It's almost like that. In fact, I'd say it is like that. So you've got a man who's neglected his health for 60 years, who eats really badly, who, entertainment purposes only, may be fond of certain prescription drugs, and he's under massive stress. So it's a debate, really. Is it going to be a cardiovascular thing? Is it a cerebral thing? Or is it an old-fashioned nervous breakdown? But October's going to be taxing on the Yeti. But I want to go that step further now. What if something happens to the Yeti? That means, perish the thought, J.D. Vance steps into the role of being candidate. Also, after the election, even if Kamala wins, he'd be the opposition. Everything about this is repulsive. So let's have a look at this possibility. I think we can't keep our heads in the sand. So let's have a look at J.D. Vance and the possibilities of he being the one. I'm not worried about Kamala being able to outsmart him or being able to sway people to be more sensible, but he can still cause a lot of damage, and he has some backers with deep pockets. So let's have a look at J.D. Vance, because you have to think this is going to happen in the next 4 years, regardless of how things play out, but I think it might be a lot sooner. I did a video some months ago, Battle of the VPs, about this, but because that's what it could end up being. So let's update and let's have a look. J.D. Vance, I'm going to do a bit bigger spread because we want to know a bit more of the background here. Okay. God. The card du jour. They're all getting it. I hope it means collectively they're losing. All right, J.D. Vance going forward. Well, the thing with him, he's one of those guys who was virtually a never Trumper, knew every flaw and foible of the disgraced one, and yet decided to throw his hat into the ring. They are the worst of the worst. So I think they're worse than the MAGA files. Okay, but his central card is lost. What's underneath what's going on for him. Ace of Swords, the truth, cutting through. The false prophecy in the form of the false gold. Oh, we're good with the economy. Democrats just spend, 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 even though the opposite has been true for the last 100 years. It's the same in Australia. It's the same in UK. The Conservatives, everyone always goes, oh, I don't like what they represent, but they're good with money. No, they're not. No, they are not. They always leave huge deficits that have to be cleaned up by the next Democrat or Labor government. So this is him talking nonsense on the economy. But this truth is bracketed by the world card. That to me smacks of Project 25. Project 25 is a global phenomenon. Okay, and people all over the world are, thank you, social media in a good way, are becoming aware of what that means. It's this weird ayatollahs of Christianity. I don't get where they're coming from. I seriously don't. But they want to roll back women's rights. They want to roll back everything about race. They just want to go back and have total control of everything. So, yeah, just another little sidebar here. Apparently, Project 25, I haven't read all the pages, but other people have, thank you. It says the hurricane that just swept through. There's part of Project 25 that says individuals and businesses will not be able to claim government help in the case of storms. Why would they go that detailed? Why would they go that mean? Right? I'll answer my own question in a minute. JD Vance. This looks a bit like JD Vance if he was at the log cabin Republicans, pretending to be a country guy in a plaid shirt. So he's worried. He is worried. I think he's worried about the debate, and he should be. But he's worried where to go next. This was his fantasy that he thought was on a silver platter. I'll be made vice president by the powers that be, i.e., the big donors and the very smart Trump elder boys. And I just have to wait. He's going to drop off the perch and I'm going to be president. Awesome. That thrilled him. It excited him. It got his little, toxic juices going. But now it's not so rosy. He's already taken a hammering. Social media en masse doesn't like him. MAGAs, for their own reasons, don't seem to like him. No one likes JD Vance. It's a fascinating phenomenon. It's like box office poison, So he's already wounded and limping on. I don't think he's a threat to Kamala. But with this card, that's a very big card. He could be stepping into the paw prints of the Yeti. Ooh, yucky poo. Now, what is Project 25 and similar things about? We're talking the Federalist Society, the Heritage Foundation, Mums for Liberty. Where do they get their funding? All these organisations. Remember Rebecca Mercer. Okay. This is a global agenda. We all have to be alert to this. Now, I think the debate's going to be fascinating. And let's just have a quick look at the debate. Just a quick look at the debate. Walsh versus Vance. Walsh versus Vance. Quick look. Oh, that is so cute. I hope it's cute. Okay, they'll both be defending their positions, right? Now, here comes the Empress. We know it's not J.D. Vance, unless this is J.D. Vance in drag. I wouldn't rule that out. However, this to me is Tim Walz. Why? Because this is someone who nurtures people and looks after people, which is what he's done as the governor of Minnesota. Bless, 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 bless. This is about masculinity. This debate is about masculinity. So you have the death card here in the sense of, you know how the most ardent pro-lifers are pro the death penalty, right? The hypocrisy, all this stuff. It's all right for women to bleed out in car parks because they're making a point. Not that they'll give surviving children a lunch bag or anything practical, let alone an education. No, 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 no. They're the death cult. They really are. The death of democracy, the death of real freedoms, real liberty. That is what is being represented here. Now, when I was part of the team designing this deck, it's not a passing resemblance of the Yeti being trampled underfoot in the context of the death card. And this is victory, I think, for Tim Walz. I just heard nervous. Expect Tim Walz to maybe be a little bit nervous at the beginning, but he'll get into it. He'll thaw, he'll find his feet, he'll be fine. But it represents a battle between insecure men who have to prove themselves by having bigger guns and bigger hats and being more awful versus men who are totally secure in their masculinity and can look after others. The death of toxic masculinity. Not that it's going to be over Tuesday night, but it's the beginning of the end. It's the beginning of the end. So stay strong, everybody, and I'll see you after the debate. Cheers. Be cool.